I'm Switch Pod. The boys are back.
Yes,
How are you,
sir.
Chris?
Yes, sir. Quarters. Look, I'm good. Into the quarters. So, we're there, man. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good myself. Good myself. The Dan Carters of podcasting here to give you our
Mm-hmm.
opinions, our
Mm-hmm.
flagrant takes, and of course,
Mm.
share your opinions, share your takes. Let us know what you like, what you don't like in the comment section. Church
Yeah.
announcements. You can find us here, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the socials, man. All the socials. Uh, yeah. Let's start news of the week before we get to quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Alignment camp announcement made. Chituka, he gets a look in.
Yay.
Troki as well. And I
Mm.
think those were kind of the two names there and there about that, like maybe people didn't see coming, but everyone else was kind of fine.
Yeah. True. True. Like I think, but I mean, it's alignment camp. Like we always say. Up until it's that time where it's the actual. It's good. I think it gives the guys, lets the rest of the guys know that they're watching and you can get called up. I mean, you saw Makaza as well. I think
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah, I forgot that one.
that's one that we mustn't fail to mention. It just shows. If they see something, in you that they think they can work with, you'll get the
Yeah.
call. You'll get the invite. To come and have a
Yeah,
look.
that one I think is like I think they're bringing that thing in because they brought Sampi Suchas in from Varsity Cup, was it last year? So I think maybe that's now, you know how Varsity Cup you win big checks and cars and whatever player that rocks. It seems like they're also adding another prize there.
Yeah, another element to it, which is I think it's good. I think it just shows how and where the game is, and professionally, really, you have to look cast the net wide,
Yeah.
and get the best guys, and they may not necessarily be at those teams, the best teams, or be local, but the guys are there, and performance is going to get you a look in. But like you say, it's still alignment camp. But yeah,
Yeah, and
big
even
news for them.
performance is also gonna get you excluded because you've seen a few guys that
Yeah.
have been excluded. I think big names, Ruiz wasn't there.
Mm,
Uh is it Julius? It wasn't there. But to me,
mm,
it's kind of like it's a form thing. You can go in, you can go out.
yeah.
It's not a big deal for me.
And there's nothing already like cast in stone as yet. I think there's
Yeah.
still a lot of things to happen before we see the final group. So there's still a chance for a lot of guys too that are not there to make it in. You never know. So, but yeah, it's good though to see. It's good
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, more news. The unfortunate passing of Cornel Hendricks.
Hey,
That was also a tough one this week.
yeah,
But at
yeah,
the same time, it was good to see like some of the off-field stuff coming from him. You know, his charity
mm,
work, just how nice of a guy he was, and also the behind the scenes. You know, stuff that the Bulls social media team did.
yeah,
When they just do player profiles or even just funny things. You know, his personality came through. So as sad as it was good to see the support that his family got also from the Sharks with
yeah.
those jerseys.
Very big. Yeah, very big. It just shows, hey, you must live this thing, eh? Must
Yeah.
live this thing because anytime your ticket is up. But I think it's one of those. It's a big blow.
Yeah, and for me also, like you look at the guy, he was ruled out, you know, at the peak
mm,
of his career. Then he made a comeback and reinvented himself, even played center. So it just shows sometimes the story it can continue.
yeah,
So
that's
that
why you
was
gotta live it,
something
man.
to take from him.
And that's why I say you gotta live this thing because he did, and he didn't allow that his condition to stop him from doing what he want to what he loved,
Mhm.
So yeah, hey, condolences to the family and to, all those in the rugby fraternity.
Yeah. Other news, sort of news that follows the game is that Willemse is potentially looking at a ban in the quarterfinals. So it's one of those tricky things. I think let's start there because we're going to go into the Stormers game. We've got Libbok. Manny Libbok
Ah.
is back. 10
I know.
changes, 10 changes for the Stormers. And to me, that's kind of a problem with the Stormers, is that they're a team that can make 10 changes, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, it's good in that the team that they put out this past match day, to me, kind of looked their strongest. It's just Sasha. That's I'd say that's more of a preference thing. But
Mm.
to me, this is kind of the strongest side that they can put out. And I
Mm.
don't know, weeks past, they maybe weren't fielding this kind of a strong team. Also mentioned in the beginning, just a note there that Similani also may be one of the other guys leaving. I know you was as well. He's also a speculation there that he may
Yeah.
leave. So it's just one to keep your eye on. And then Hartzenberg, it was his 50th cap, and
Wow.
he made sure we
Yeah, I know
remembered
it
it.
did. Cashed in there. I think he had a good game. And look, Ola, this game is the Italian job. That game, I couldn't help but think Italian job while watching it because look, the officiating. I think we've been. It's not a refereeing podcast. We always say that, but you know what? I
Yeah.
think too many games. You know where there's things like right in front of you. Even this weekend, not only in this game. You know where there's certain situations that it
But
wouldn't have
which calls are
even.
you talking about? Because for me, the biggest call for me here was that the scrums. It doesn't look, because they had Fouchier back, Dweba
Yeah.
and Stee, and this looked like they'd sorted out their scrum problems. But then it's like Stee is getting ascendancy on his side, but then they're calling him for scrumming in, which I don't necessarily believe is true. So for me, that's the only part of refereeing that I had a problem with throughout the game, was
Yeah.
that the interpretations at scrum time, you could see this guy doesn't really know what's going on.
Yeah. And for me, just leading up to that, Willemse, sort of high tackle, high shot. You know,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that we missed. You know, in terms of officiating, and for me, it's like I say, it's too many games. Yes, the breakdown. There's many things you can find. You know, but there's also clear cut things that you know you blow that it doesn't lead to. You know, it's if you look back at that incident, there was a breakdown before that ball went wide. You know,
Oh
um,
yeah.
before that ball went wide, and I'm talking referring specifically to that breakdown. You know, and it's like there's things that the referees miss. You see it even in the following games, and it's we've seen it in previous games, and there's nothing's really changing from that perspective. Where now, like you said, Willemse might be facing missing the quarterfinal. It's a big blow to the Stormers if he's not there because I felt this game, you know, I couldn't help but think, you know, he's at that point where even if he's not like shooting out the lights, you know, this guy he's
He's
just
just
that
solid,
good.
yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just that good, and with him in the that backline looks completely different, more stable. There's also you've got that extra decision maker, you know, and yeah, and for me, that's going to be a loss for the Stormers if they do lose him, you know. But yeah, looking at the game, they made them work hard, you know.
Yeah, just
They
before you move on, it definitely is going to be a loss, because Damian Willemse provides a stability and a reassuredness. You saw him under the high ball. You saw the kicks that he was putting in. The one kick even led to I think Zas's try.
yes,
Who's gonna come and take over at 15? It's gonna be Galant most probably, and Galant is a guy that you don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah.
You
Although lately he's been, you know,
No,
like you
I'm
said,
not
he
saying
was,
in a bad way. I'm not saying in a bad
yeah,
way. I'm just saying you don't know. Like Damian Williams, you kind of know what's gonna happen with him.
yeah,
Halanch, you don't know what he doesn't even know what is gonna happen. He just feels it and then he just does it. I'm sure if you ask him, he's just like, it just happened.
just
So I
happens. But
mean, that's
yeah,
unless they go with Sasha there, but for me, it'll totally change the way that this team looks, because in this game it was Libbok coming back in the 10 jersey, different from the way that Sasha plays. Both
yes,
both had good games, I felt.
yeah,
Libbok more, you could see the passes were in front of the players, almost forcing them to run onto it. And
yeah,
then he had those contestable kicks and just the direction that he takes them. Stormers pattern play, a lot of, I think the first three tries what it was like set piece, phases, then play back. And that's where they found they would either find an overlap or give a guy a good, one-on-one. And that's where
Yeah,
the tries are coming. You don't need detailed analysis to find that out. The only thing with, a defensive coach can sit there and see this is clearly what they're trying to do. That's my
yeah,
only issue with that is that hopefully they'll be able to sort of pull the opposition the same way in the quarterfinal. But besides that, I mean, great play. Like I said, the scrums I can't be too hard on them because I felt like it was refereeing decisions. Sazi
yeah.
Standi, although he did come on and had a bit of trouble, but to me they're looking good, man. They're looking good.
They are looking good, and just to touch on what you're saying in terms of how they pattern play. But I think they've shown in the past few weeks they can play a variety of ways where they can also play more direct towards the ball and still
Yeah, yeah, but
find
that's kind of
find
like when Sasha's playing.
yeah, so I think they should be okay. Although still Willems will be a big miss for sure. If he's not going to play, but yeah, they're looking good, and you can't help. And I'll say this. We've said before, when we want a player to be showing more, and I feel Murat, for weeks now, he has been showing consistency.
Yeah,
He's looking more mature. The physicality is there. He's more sort of impactful and influential in the game and as a captain. So you love to see that as well. Yeah, we criticize, but we also give flowers. So I just want to mention that, and that's why I think they're looking as well. I agree with you. They're looking good. And it'll be a tough one in Glasgow.
yeah. For me, just moving forward, things to highlight in the next game. The restarts. I think they conceded two tries from restarts here. That's of particular concern is that they need to get out, and then obviously it's just scrums whether the ref on the day or if Sazi Sandi's playing, it's
Yeah,
just going to be a bit hard for them. And also, I
yeah.
mean, around the 60th minute, it was kind of
Yeah,
like
there's
play
touch and
what you
go, eh?
see. It was 24-17. It shouldn't have been that
Mm,
close. I mean,
yeah.
that's within one score. It shouldn't have been that close. The
Mm,
Stormers were playing most of the rugby, and then it was just broken play, roll of the dice. Let's see who
mm.
wins. And then Sasha's the one that rolls the
Yeah,
perfect hand, gets the try. So,
yeah,
you can play those games at home. You can play those games, but when now you're going away and you try and play those games and it's now in Scotland and things aren't going
yeah.
your way and now there's wind when you're trying those kicks and things like that, you're not going to be able to roll the dice in the same way.
Mm,
So yeah, but besides that, for me, Zaz good game, Low Nell, most
yes.
of the forwards, Willemse, Libbok, all good games.
Mm. Yeah, really, I think a solid outing. Although, yeah, it shouldn't have gotten as close as it did, But I think it'll be a good little shake-up for them going away to Glasgow.
Yeah, I mean we'll do a preview I think next week, but I think I'm going with the Stormers here. They lost me quite a bit of
Yeah.
money on this fixture last season. They lost
But you think
me
it's
they lost me quite a bit of money, but I think this time they'll be able to get me that money back. I was so convinced, even when they were down, I was putting more money. I was like, no, they will bring it they will bring it back, but they never brought it back.
Oh, so it's time for you to
Um,
cash in. Yeah, okay.
yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm gonna cash in on my boys. I'm
Mm,
gonna believe. I'm gonna believe. Hopefully,
mm,
Willemse, we'll see what happens there. But moving on, Bulls versus Dragons.
yeah.
They secure second place quarterfinal against Edinburgh. Just going into the game, the corner Hendricks tributes,
Mm.
and yeah, Dragons is Dragons, man. You're not really expecting much. The biggest thing
Bulls did what
was
they needed to
Kaba
do.
was he got a rare start, and then he's man
Yeah.
of the match, which
Mm.
tends to
Wow.
happen.
Wow.
This is what tends to happen because guys don't play rugby, then they get the chance to play
Yeah.
rugby, and then they
Yeah.
show why they should be playing rugby.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Wow. Okay. He's been there, eh? Okay. Yeah. That's why they brought him there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's for him to do that. And He's shown, and it's going to make it hard for now. I would imagine it should be harder now to leave a guy like that out because it
Nah, they're gonna
becomes,
leave him out. They're gonna leave him. They are
of
gonna
course,
leave him out. Like, of
but I'm
course.
just saying it becomes hard now going into
Yeah,
quarterfinal and the knockouts is different. You're going to need those moments with that guy that's going to be on that ball. And
yeah,
he was so effective in just this one game. So. Yeah, but the Bulls did what they're supposed to do at home, considering the
yeah,
whole, the feeling. Everything. So I think they did the fixture justice. The back line as well was running hard. There was intensity there. A lot of things like they've been doing right, and yeah, they were nailing their roles. There's nothing more you can say. Like you said, the Dragons are the
yeah,
Dragons.
yeah. It's difficult to talk much about it. Nokia playing seven. That's a thing that's been
Interesting one.
recurring
Yeah.
over the past few weeks. Is that role, that Franco Mostert role of playing lock
Mm,
and playing flank at the same time, five and seven. He's
mm,
doing it well. He's always been the reason why he never got a ball call up is because he's too lightweight. Then
yeah.
everybody got injured. He got a ball call up and proved he can hang on that level. Now
Yeah.
the question is going to be, can he play seven at that level? And you know what?
Mm,
He probably can. It's
yeah.
one of those things where he doesn't look like he can do. He doesn't look like he can cut it, but then he gets there, he does it, and
Just
it's going to upset a lot of people when he plays seven for the box, and they're going to be like, why isn't
yeah.
this guy playing seven? Why isn't this
Yeah.
guy playing seven? Even now, people are saying, why isn't Gumede playing seven? But I
Mm.
mean, I guess it just doesn't fall within Jake White's, his
Yeah, and I
plans.
mean, you also got to look at it. I mean, now he's got how many line-out jumpers in there,
Yeah, that's the
in
whole point. Yeah,
the pack, so it's another weapon, and obviously it becomes important. I think we've seen even with the box, there's a lot of value put on guys that can do more than one job, so. Yeah, I agree with you there. You're probably going to see it happen. And yeah, the fixtures are there. You're looking at it, what's coming up. The fixtures are there to allow for such to happen. To see,
yeah,
whether it can pan out. So yeah, but that's interesting one. And I mean, he's done well so far. He hasn't disappointed.
yeah. Just other things in this game again. Bulls strong set piece. You've got a
Mm,
line out. It'll be two phases. They score. It'll be a scrum. They score scrum. It'll be that set piece is
too
just
much.
functioning for them. The scrums continue to get them points, and then Johannes at 10 continues to look
Yeah,
good. Those
I like
those
that.
bombs, those high balls that he puts in for the wingers to chase.
I'm there for
That's
I'm there for Johannes. I'm there for Johannes at 10. I'm there for Johannes at 10.
yeah. I mean, so am I. Like I think he can take them. He can take them as far as the guys around him take them. You know what I mean? He's not going to be the weak link
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this thing.
yeah. Mm,
That's and for a guy that's filling in, that's the best thing that you can say.
yeah.
The Lions, the Lions versus Ospreys. Like I said, Dobela starts,
Mm,
and I mean for him, nice start for him in the beginning, getting the try that was ruled out. And for me, it was
yeah.
just a strong performance from him. That's kind of like the story of the day. Besides that, oh, the other thing, Ed will last game at the Lions and then he gets a try. But besides that, nothing really going here. Besides the fact that the Lions, they did play a lot of rugby, but didn't really get much reward for long periods of the game. I mean, it's good they got the win, but not really much else good.
Yeah, true. Not really much else good, but at the same time, even in this game, I think there was also some, for me, officiating decisions where you're seeing something that we're not seeing, but and you're saying, nah, let's just carry on because you know, you saw what you saw in saying that there was, for me, it was a held up try.
Yeah,
It looked held up. So things like that where it also, made it a bit more difficult for the Lions in terms of that from a scoreboard perspective, but they also didn't make it easy on themselves. Ospreys, yeah, they did play like a team that, were trying to play, make sure that they're in the quarterfinals and, but yeah, Lions just be happy you came away with a win over there because At some
Yeah.
point, I think it was in 78, I had already just stepped out. When I came back and looked, I was like, okay, whoa, what happened? Good.
Mm.
But on the balance of it, it's just, it was a typical that's last game of the season, type of performance, really, for me, outside of Dobela, where, he was like the real shining light for me. I think the intensity that he brought was different, just him taking it to the line. He's got more
Yeah.
pace as well, so yeah, that made a big difference. Yes, the pack, definitely did better, but I mean, defensively, would you say they did better?
Nah,
No.
defensively they were
No.
shocking, especially off of set
Mm.
piece. And again, that's Jacques Ferry's area, and people are gonna say like, yeah, Jacques Ferry must be the next coach, Jacques Ferry, because we
Mm.
loved him as a Springbok. But in terms of doing his job week to week, to me, this was not good, and it hasn't been
Yeah.
good for a few weeks. So
Yes.
there, I'm not happy. The other thing for me, mainly about this team, okay, they did play a lot of rugby, but the rugby was not effective.
Mm.
They're kind of just going nowhere. And there was almost that frustration until they pulled out excellent execution
Yeah.
around the 30-minute mark, and then Vasaki gets his first try. But
Yes.
before that, like you're just kind of playing and going nowhere and getting nowhere. And then after
Mm.
that, you're kind of just playing and getting nowhere and going nowhere. And I feel like that's a function of how are they playing in terms of identity. Because
Mm.
this is not the same.
Mm.
Ackerman was a long time ago. That
Yeah.
running rugby, every year we get further and further and further from it. So I think it's time to reevaluate the identity and how are we going to play, because quite frankly, we don't have the players to be doing that kind of thing. We
Mm.
don't. Like we don't have,
Yeah.
it's just not going to work. So I think there needs to be a reevaluation, or a coach that can come in and get a game plan for the players.
For the tools that he's got, yeah, true.
Yeah, because I mean,
Mm.
you look at it, Nohamba's a completely different fly half from Volita, from
Mm.
Dobela, from whoever. I mean, they put Sam Francis there at one stage, so things
Yes.
things are different, man. And
Staying.
and yeah, I
Staying.
mean, Niku Stain as well. Now you've got Niku
Mm.
Stain in there as well, and he's also, what type of player is he? Is he the type of player that can fit in what they're trying to do? So for me, that was a thing that I'm gonna try and keep an eye on going into Curry Cup. And like these guys said, they're like, yeah, this is the season isn't over for us. This is
Yeah.
they look at it like their first Curry Cup game, like they're moving into Curry Cup now.
Mm. Yeah, so we'll have to see in Curry Cup how they go and who's going to be in charge of Curry Cup, because I think whoever's going to be in charge of Curry Cup must just take them through to URC. You know,
Yeah,
performance, pending performance, but that's for me, but again, there's a lot of changes that need to be made there at the Lions, top down. And yeah, but at least they got the
even
win
players.
last game of the season, so
Yeah, we
at
got
least
the win. Even players like Edwards left, they're bringing in Edwin Cater to replace him. A good player, but unfortunately, he came to the facility on crutches. So, like, yeah, I won't even say anything about that. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the Sharks. The Sharks,
ah
terrible game. Terrible game.
yo.
This is right now, this is a free podcast. So yeah, you'd have to pay me to give you in-depth analysis on that, because it just wasn't good.
Yo. Look, but I said it last week. We're in the phase now where it doesn't matter, just get it done.
Yeah,
And they got it done. So, and they proved me right. Because I just knew it that it's just gonna be just get it done. And I think you saw how big Etzebeth is for this team
yeah.
right now. Because with him there, the pack is operating differently, and they have to play how they have to play. Gotta you know just rack it up, put pressure, try go through the phases. There's nothing really else. Put the bomb chase. They don't like to play too much. With the
Hmm.
ball, and maybe going in the knockouts phases will start to suit them. You never know where now it becomes that type of sort of those type of games where you can pull teams into look, it's not gonna be free scoring and
Yeah,
it's gonna play tight and things like that, maybe. But yeah, right now it's just survive, get it done, and see how
yeah.
far we can go. That's
And that's
that's really it, and it's better than where
yeah.
we were last season. So
It's been
you know what?
working. It's been working. I can't complain. It's that thing of you just go to your job, whether you do your job good or bad, you still get paid.
Is it done?
So,
Is it
well,
done?
right now at least they just mustn't get fired. But
Yeah.
right now at least they're finding enough to win. And
Yeah.
finding enough to win, even if it means 21 phases, just
Yeah.
going 5 meters just so that we can get a penalty. So I mean, from an outcomes perspective, great run, win after
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
But but in
Just a bit.
reality and actually watching it, yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's another thing. Munster, that that's where it gets tricky because Munster can do
Yeah.
the exact same thing to you.
Yes, you see, there is going to be so you can find yourself in another game like this next week where it's
Yeah,
just, and maybe Munster will be more adept and more used to that kind of situation, and they'll be able to get
that's where
more
they
out of it,
thrive.
milking penalties and things like that, and putting pressure. So yeah, it's gonna be tough to see unless there's a spark that comes from somewhere, which you don't see.
Yeah,
Yeah, at the moment, with the Sharks. But yeah, look, they're getting the win, they're getting the result. So I you just take it. Sometimes when you get something, you just accept, you take,
yeah,
and move on. You don't want to talk about it too much because you don't know how long this thing's going to last,
yeah,
because now's the chance. It's knockouts. Anything can happen. So,
yeah. Before we close, knockouts. Obviously, we'll do a preview next week, but you've got Leinster Scarlets on
mhm.
one side, Leinster, I'm thinking they'll go through. Although Scarlet's past 2 weeks, they've shown
Nah,
they
but
can
but
hang
Leinster,
within striking distance or get the win. So, but I'm still going Leinster.
depending on how this weekend goes as well.
Yeah. Then you've got Glasgow Stormers. Like I said, I'm looking for the Stormers to pay me back my money. So I actually think the Stormers can do something here. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to side with you here on this one.
Yeah. Then you're looking at
Yeah,
Leinster. Then you're looking at Leinster Stormers. Stormers again can roll the dice, maybe do something. So
they can do a job. These guys, they can maybe they can. But hey, the one Leinster is it's difficult to see, hey,
yeah,
because you're gonna have to do what back two back to backs away.
away games. Yeah.
But maybe, man, because you see they've been able to get on a run and they can do things they've never done before. So maybe.
And when I think about when the Stormers did play Leinster in Dublin, it was
Mhm.
good. It was good for about 20 minutes, and then things kind of fell apart when Libbok got injured. So yeah, I'm still maybe they can do something. Moving on the
Maybe
other side, Sharks, Munster. I'm expecting Sharks. I think this will
living
be
on
the
a prayer.
most. This one is going to be the most competitive out of all of them, I believe. But
Living on a prayer there.
yeah, I still think Sharks have enough to get over, especially with the players that they have. Andrew at home, I think it's
Yeah,
sold out, so I think
mm,
they'll go over the line. Then Bulls, Edinburgh. Yeah, it's just the Bulls. Then you got
Bulls.
that Bulls Sharks semi-final. Yeah,
Hey, we can do a number on them. We've been doing numbers on them in
yeah.
URC. With a bogey team in URC, I think recently. So we can do them. We can do it now.
Any
Maybe.
closing remarks? Closing
Hey,
remarks.
look. Hey, look. Anything can happen, quarters. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. That's all I'll say. Anything can happen. Then take a break. Look at themselves in the mirror this week. Fix things. And anything can happen next week. I must dream. I must dream.
Then that's it from us, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we are.